Hello guys, this is Buzz here. I'm going to be trying to commentate over the finals of the NUEL tournament, NUEL Hearthstone tournament that happened in 2014 between me, Buzz, and Mini Macho. I'm going to try and be commentating from both sides, saying what both people are thinking, so here we go. First game is Warrior versus Paladin, and as we can see, Warrior's going to mulligan his highest cost card. Gorehal makes a lot of sense. A bit more of a decision making to be made on Paladin control over here. In the end, one true silver will be kept. There are arguments for getting rid of all three cards there, but relatively decent draw in the end. Obviously the Earthen Ring is very nice, and to draw another one there is perfect as well. Holy Light you tend to not play early because otherwise you can't get your Molten Giants out, but it's definitely worse cards to draw there. So a quick pass is what we're seeing here, and now we see the Paladin trying to make a decision what to play. There's only one real option here: hero power, make a dude, start making lots of dudes until the warrior forces him to do something else. This is of course warrior control as well, just with a really nice early game here. Essentially perfect hand for warrior control, none of the big beefy things filling it up that he can't use yet. He's going to use a Taskmaster here. Makes some sense. Some people might play the Acolyte out to get some cards off it, but he doesn't know if it's Paladin control yet. This could easily be some kind of mid-range or, possibly a rush deck with a very bad draw. So could have played a Farseer here, but then you got one less health on your Drake and you're not healing with it yet, so it's understandable to make a dude. So we're seeing a Frothing Berserker come out, and he's going to immediately get 2 extra attack on that, thanks to the exchange between the Taskmaster and the dude. Right, so is Paladin going to Drake, or is he going to True Silver? If he Drakes now, then we could see that Berserker getting very big before it's dealt with, so that is the decision to be made. Obviously using True Silver here, you take 4 to the face, and you're wasting the heal beforehand, but it probably is the only legitimate option here. And next turn, which Drake are you going to play? That's the next question. So Warrior Control sees a very nice hand. Obviously he also just wants to stall to the late game, make sure he doesn't die, so he's going to set up. Ooh, so what happens here, I've forgotten this, is he plays his weapon and starts to threaten a rush down, which is an interesting option. He's understood it's Paladin control now, so maybe he's just saying, unless you can actually play some things down, you're in trouble. So I would have probably played the Armor Smith there, but he's gone for the option of playing the weapon. So here comes out an Azure Drake rather than a Twilight Drake. Optimal use of mana, replaces itself, and of course now you're going to have even more cards in your hand for when the Drake does come down. And since Warrior Control doesn't traditionally have any silences for the Drake, you will have to waste an Execute or a huge Shield Slam on it. Which, of course, as you can see, this Warrior will have no problem doing, but it does mean that he won't have those cards to deal with the big threats that will come out later. So we're seeing 1 Shield Slam used. So out of Warrior Control's main 4 removal cards, that is 2 Shield Slams and 2 Executes, we're already 1 Shield Slam down for a very mid-value target. And Paladin is in a slight bit of sweat here, in the fact that he's down to 19 health already, but it's really not too scary yet to only turn 6. Paladin has loads of ways to heal himself up, so isn't too worried. So here we could see another Azure Drake come out and ramp up the Twilight Drake even further, but for optimal use of mana, we're probably going to see, and we do see me play a Twilight Drake with 8 toughness and make a dude. So the dude is obviously at the moment an actual real threat in terms of value, because it can get rid of the Taskmaster and for the hero power, which is absolutely perfect. So Warrior Control here has found his second Shield Slam, and he actually now has the armour to rid himself of a Drake in one hit, which is, well, he considers it perfect for him right now, but it does mean another of his cards that can be used to get rid of late game threats is now gone. So now we see the warrior try and decide how he wants to get rid of this hero, this dude, and lose the least value. In the end he goes for his weapon, which is an interesting choice. I think there's an argument for Coin Acolyte again, but with the True Silver out, possibly not. So he went for wasting his weapon. So he's now down a weapon, and all it's done is 3 to the face and 3 to a dude, which is not brilliant. So again, for optimal mana use, we're going to see another Drake come out, and I assume Paladin is going to make a dude here. Still not worried about getting burst down, turn to 7. And again is going to end the turn. Doesn't need to use that second True Silver yet. Obviously, at this point, Warrior is stacking up a lot of armour, but this armour is only going to be used to stall the game from here on. He's already used both of his shield slams, and so we won't be seeing some kind of offensive use of the armour. So Warrior's decision making here, again, no big threats yet. He's still looking just to stall the game out. He's got a lot of options here, but none of them seem particularly full of value. He's considering still putting the pressure on the Paladin, since the Paladin is significantly lower on health than the Warrior right now. But he doesn't really have anything to follow it up with yet. But he could be setting up for a surprising finish if he drew into Gromash. He's worried about playing the Acolyte into all these things with 4 attacks, since obviously it will only draw 1 card, and ideally you'd like to draw more than 1 card. He could go Acolyte Inner Rage, but of course that's just cycling the Inner Rage as opposed to anything more exciting with it, and he might need the Inner Rage later in order to activate and execute. So it is a difficult option, a difficult thing to decide, and what's probably the right thing to do is what he's doing, which is just tank up, attack the face, and force the Paladin to make the actual moves and uses of value. Now, Coin Acolyte here seems a bit desperate. I'm not sure that he needed to do that. So now he has his Acolyte out, but he's going to get 1 card out of it, so it's being cycled. So what will Paladin decide to do here? Obviously he's going to get optimal value out of the dude by throwing it into the Taskmaster. And some people might expect Tyrion to come out straight away here, but this is my Paladin deck with a special twist where it runs Redemptions and a couple of things with Divine Shield, since they work nice in tandem, so I tend to not put Tyrion out until at least turn 9, and preferably on a board where he's the only minion, so that Redemption would definitely trigger on Tyrion. But with that in mind, there are choices here which include Guardian of Kings and Farseers and Dudes and Argus and so on. Arguments for a lot of different options. The reason that this is coming out here, I believe, is because it's starting to get a little bit scared of some kind of sudden burst down. So in retrospect, I would probably have actually told myself to, yes, attack the Acolyte of Pain with the Drake and not waste my True Silver, but I think what I do here is I waste my True Silver. So that was probably a slight misplay. Probably did not need to use the True Silver there. I was a bit concerned that I needed to start chunking through that armour before the game just ended and no one had any cards, and this was one chance to start doing that, but it was probably a waste. So we're going to see Brawl come out here, which again is a strong removal card that Warrior Control here is wasting and not even getting the priority target. So that's both unfortunate for Warrior Control, and again, there's an argument. Obviously, in that situation, he probably had to play it because of the board presence of the Paladin, but it does mean that he has been playing all these removal cards, and none of the big targets have come out yet. This Sea Giant is a bit of a surprise card that no other Paladin control you'll ever see will run. It was really an experiment at the time. Obviously, you can get slight extra value out of Sea Giant by playing a dude beforehand, and also lots of aggro decks nowadays. Zoo, Murlocs can often have a lot of creatures down, and if you can get a Sea Giant down, then often that will swing the game. But in any case, I would not run Sea Giant in your deck. I've taken it out since then, and it is a bit of a weird card to put in this deck. So, he's considering using his first Execute to kill the Drake here, and he does. So again, one Execute left for Paladin control, which means really he's looking to win, like, as soon as possible, because he is running out of ways to deal with Paladin control's deck. So, he goes for Berserker, and then he goes for Pain Execute onto the Sea Giant, which is understandable, but all things considered, if he understands that he needs to rush down the Paladin at this point, then Growmash plus the Activate from the Inner Age would probably have been the better move. So since Paladin has so many cards in his hand at this point, he does waste an equality here to get rid of the Berserker. Now, this is controversial, very controversial indeed, but the reason that Paladin is doing this is, this was my reasoning at the time anyway, was look at what Warrior has used this game. He's used 2 Executes, he's used 2 Shield Slams, and he's used a Brawl. Will he have any way to deal with Tyrion? And I was correct in the assumption that he would have no more instant removal for Tyrion, so I don't need to wait to play Redemption in the same turn in order for the effect to activate. So Warrior Control realises he needs to get some value out of Ysera as quickly as possible, and very unfortunately gets the laughing sister that everybody hates. So here, this is how I tend to play this. Once I have Tyrion out, I will not play any more minions on the board until Tyrion dies, because that way Redemption will definitely hit Tyrion. So what we're seeing here is me securing my health total, just because I have the spare mana, and I will attack Ysera because this way I get optimal value out of my Divine Shield, just in case he has a Whirlwind or anything else that could pop the Divine Shield. It's best to make sure I get that 3-6 damage on Ysera. So Warrior Control has to make a decision here of how he's going to deal with Tyrion, and does not know what the secret is. Most people would suspect Redemption here, but he does not know if it's a Redemption or not. So he's trying to make decisions as to how to deal with the Tyrion. So that attack has confirmed it's not a get down. Playing minions has confirmed that it's not a repentance. So the only ones that could be left are Eye for an Eye and Redemption. So here he's quite confident that it's a Redemption, but he doesn't really have any way to play around it, unfortunately. So that's a problem he has. So in this position, at Paladin, 25 health, Tyrion on the field, looking pretty strong, I decide to burn a few cards, I believe, to clear the board, and this is an interesting strategy I do here. This is a relatively recent, well, not such so more, but it used to be that secrets could activate in your own turn. This is no longer true, and secrets cannot activate in your own turn. So I decide a good way to use my cards to clear the board and make sure Tyrion is still the only thing on the field is with Pyromancer Double Consecration, to kill the Ysera, keep Tyrion alive, and then start attacking his face. So obviously this does give a lot of armour away through the Armour Smith, but it will all quickly go away again from the Tyrion attack plus the damages from the Consecration. So I did waste a lot of card value doing this, but the concept was that if he can't get past Tyrion, he's going to be severely punished. And it seemed he couldn't get past Tyrion. So obviously, what happens at this point is that I learned from Minimatchup after the game is that he was not aware of this secret change, or had forgotten about it, and so thought that the fact that the Pyromancer had died confirmed that it must be Eye for an Eye, and not indeed a Redemption. So this apparently did very much surprise him. he does try to continue on. So obviously he now needs to get rid of Tyrion again as quickly as possible. Otherwise, I'll get lots of value out of the Ashbringer, which currently has 3 charges. If he can get rid of Tyrion before my next turn, then he can indeed make sure I only get those 3 charges from Ashbringer. So that's his thinking here in throwing Gromash in straight away after the Ysera awakens and getting rid of Tyrion immediately. And of course he does now have an activated Gromash that I have to deal with. Thankfully for Paladin control, he has several ways to deal with the Gromash. There's the Peacekeeper, would make it a 1/3. Holy Wrath is an instant kill. For most cards in the Paladin deck, that was a relatively reliable Holy Wrath there. And at this point, we're looking to regain board presence and board control, knowing that warrior control is down to just a couple more of his super strong cards. So Ysera is down, Gromash is down, there's probably a Ragnaros in there, and probably a Karen Bloodhoof or something like that. So at this point, we're pretty sure he doesn't have Ragnaros or Karen, because they would have probably come out at that point there. So at this point, we're just hoping to flood the board and win as quickly as possible. And I believe, yes, what happens is Paladin control, for that reason, attacks the face, neutralizes the sister, gets down another beefy guy, and we are going up to high health here, so if we draw a Molten Giant at this point, it is a dead card until we go low. But obviously, if we go low, then if we don't go low, then we're happy, because that probably means we've won anyway. So obviously, best practice would be to do the slam first, since you're getting the instant card there. There's also arguments for slamming your own Acolyte. Obviously, he's drawn the Taskmaster, so he's going for the Taskmaster into his Acolyte, which turns out to be the best move. But he couldn't have known that he was going to draw a Taskmaster there. So he's now looking in quite a lot of trouble. I can do 11 damage this turn. He doesn't know what I've got in my hand. So it's quite possible that Paladin control could have had lethal this turn. Turns out it didn't, but Paladin control will almost certainly go straight for the face here. With the 8 damage from the True Silver in hand, there's no need for Paladin control to deal with the board anymore. You can just be hyper-aggressive and hope to close out the game next turn. Now, obviously there's arguments for playing the True Silver there, it's, best use of mana and so on. However, keeping that surprise damage in hand also can often be the difference between winning and losing, and that's the reason it was kept in hand there. So otherwise the warrior has all the information. So a nice top deck here for warrior control. He has indeed found Ragnaros, and is going to bring it out and hope for the best. Can obviously use the 1-2 and the 1-2 to take out lots of 1-1s. In fact, again, best practice would have been to attack with the Acolyte first, just in case there are any better options revealed after you get that card. But warrior control has to hope for the Ragnaros to hit the Justice at this point, the Guardian of Kings. And what we're seeing here is warrior control is so scared about his life total that he's actually going to sacrifice 2 dudes just to take 2 less damage to the face. And Ragnaros hits, unfortunately, the Paladin, which, as warrior control correctly realises, is probably game. And get a little bit of BM here with the Paladin showing his whole hand and showing all the options he had before actually finishing the game. And that was game 1 of the best of 5 of the NUEL Hearthstone tournament finals. And if you're interested to see how the other games went, let me know, and I'll continue making these videos. So thanks for watching.